We have right now two amazing people, and hopefully Anzi might join us, the founder of Melanin Gamers in the UK. That sometimes, we've been having some tech issues, and there might be issues across the way. I know that Sharon, who was not really able to co-host with me as much and with issues there. So just in the interest of time, I am going to get us started. I am going to let these amazing human beings introduce themselves. I'm going to say that I have had in the last 3 years a lot of fangirl moments, and I just like fully embrace them. And right now I'm completely fangirling about the fact that I get to be on a panel with Keisha and Letta J right now. I'm feeling myself. Chat us up in the chat. I guess one thing, okay, how's everyone doing in the chat? Tell us how you're feeling right now. How's the day been going for you? Say hi, send vibes and love, but how are you feeling? How's the day been going? One thing that's been amazing for you today, just put it in the chat so that Keisha and Letta J kind of know a little bit of good stuff that's going on out there with you. And so we are going to really just have a conversation about things that are going on within the video game industry, and also just from our lived experience, right? So we're not going to be speaking for everyone. We're going to speak from the space that we take up in the world. And the first thing I would love is for each of you, and we'll try to have a conversation, but at times I might just shoot a question to one of you or both of you. But first, can you share, I've been asking everyone that was a panelist that I've been moderating today, your name, your pronouns, and the moment that you knew you were a gamer. The moment that it was yeah, this is taking me.
Well, I guess I'll go first. I am Keisha Howard, founder of Sugar Gamers, and my pronouns are she, her. I knew I was a gamer when I would apply game theory and game mechanics to solve every problem I ever had in life. Overthinking 1000.
I love it. We're gonna get more into your overthinking 1000. Letta J, what about you?
Hey everybody, I'm Letta J. I am the founder and CEO of Coexist Gaming, and I think I knew I was a gamer when I started applying real-life principles of Tetris to everything in life. I'm like, no, it can fit. It's rectangular. It'll slide right through there. Yeah.
It's so funny. Tetris came
This
up
is why
before.
I love this woman.
I do that to this day. I'm like geometrically masterminding it. Make it a circle. No.
Hilarious. I was Tetris came up. I can't remember how, but Tetris helped me last year. I had a really bad concussion, and it was the one game that was really helpful for focus and delayed response time, which was a big issue for me during my healing process. So big ups to Tetris.
Yes.
Big ups to. So you mentioned Sugar Gamers. You mentioned Coexist Gaming. Can you tell everyone what it is that you do in the world right now? And it doesn't have to just be that, but what's the thing that you're doing in the world right now, and what do you adore about it? What is it bringing so much joy?
Can I speak for Letta and how awesome Coexist Gaming is? If you haven't been, oh my goodness, been following this woman for the last, several years, and just the way you understand the gaming community and what Coexist stands for. Anyways, I guess you can introduce yourself now.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm fangirling too, Verta.
I fangirl, y'all, like I get paid for it. And I love all these hundreds and little sparkly things. I'm loving all this love here. So Coexist Gaming is, I guess I'll say initially, so my background is music, gaming, and tech. And I wanted to really build a world where they could all coexist, because existing in those sort of three different dimensionally sort of unique stratospheres, the one thing we all had in common was gaming. So Coexist Gaming is a subscription-based membership brand that is really pioneering inclusivity and innovation in gaming. Our focus is highlighting opportunity in the gaming industry from a 360-degree lens. So what we focused on building was an ecosystem that incubates and accelerates talent to introduce opportunities in development, both personally, can y'all hear me okay? Both personally, professionally, and creatively. So I built the Coexist Game House, which I started the first one in my Brooklyn duplex. And now working nonstop. We have a Times Square location, but it offers just this inclusive co-working environment with immersive and interactive active games. We've got over 15,000 free-to-play games, areas for game development, photo shoots, content creation, mixing, our mastering, recording studio, podcasts, and then we offer food and beverage. So it's pretty much our gamer heaven. And my goal is to break the pay-to-play model. What I wanted to destroy was when you walk into Barcade or Dave and Buster's, it's free to go in there, but you're going to spend at least $50 to $100 to have a good time. The mentality, the psychology I wanted to disrupt was once I decide to no longer spend money here, there's nothing for me to do. So the ecosystem is really everything. We focus on being an authentic lifestyle gaming company, right? Because we know the lifestyle of a gamer is not streaming in an LA mansion for 20 hours. So,
Yeah, not. Well, it is for some, but
for
it's
some,
not that case for many
for
or all.
most, yes.
For most.
True.
And you
True.
did not talk about how we could get our hands on the red flight suits that you get to wear there, because I've been get one like a hot minute, but you got to work there. All this red tape. We're going to talk about that later. What you're doing is brilliant. The space is brilliant. Why does it bring you joy?
I think at the very core of my current existence, I love community. And the fact that you can build a world where strangers come together over something that symbiotically connects them and forge meaningful, significant relationships, that is a brand, a company that I want to attach myself to because of the social equity. At the nucleus of what it means to coexist, it is people focused. And I think because, we build IP, right? So we're a tech company. And a lot of tech companies build tech and say, okay, now we're going to market this to people. And it's like, no, we started with people first. And we actually build and derive things from understanding those people, meeting that need. And I have met some of the most yourselves inclusive, incredible people that I genuinely love and adore through this industry. This industry that has allowed me to be more authentically and unapologetically myself than I've ever been in my life. As a Grammy nominated recording artist, I'm in rooms with people that are all wearing masks. Everybody's faking it till they make it. As an electrical engineer, you're like women in tech and you're speaking and cutting edge and we're innovation and rah rah and it's like disruptive and all the words and the TAM and the SOM and all the things. And then there's like, as a gamer, even in like where I initially found community was like the fighting game community, right? So I'm a competitor and I'm usually one of the few women that are in the room. And so to know that I always say if you don't like the world you live in, it could be because you're meant to build a new one. And what I love about the worlds that we're building, even the ones in virtual spaces, there's so much inclusion. You don't have to do anything more than you are enough, period. If you're there, your existence, it fortifies someone. There's something you have in common with someone. So I just love that there are environments where you can meet your business partner, you can meet your life partner, and they can all coexist.
I am loving this. Okay, so Keisha, we're going to go to you next, but first we're going to have Annabel-Anthony come up to the stage. Yay, you're here. I made you a speaker. Come and join us. We are in the process of just slide yourself up here, aesthetically. We're in the process of doing what it is that we're doing. What are you doing in the world right now, and why it's bringing you some joy? So go ahead, Keisha.
Oh man, the whole aspect of being in the video game industry for me, that sort of is always what I'm doing, and what brings me joy is just the constant learning. There's just so much to learn here and so many different directions you can go in. And so one thing I really love about the gaming community in general is that you can find a way to show up as your authentic self. There's just so many ways you can participate, and solving problems, learning new things, trying different things out even has been a really exciting and fulfilling part of this, which always makes me want to try something new. And I like having that sense of purpose and curiosity, like constantly fueled.
And you're constantly fueling my curiosity because you always be coming with some newness. You are like always forward thinking. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Annabel or Angie, I don't know what you prefer. You let us know what you want to be called today. And just tell us a little bit about you and what you do in the world and why we are also going to be fangirling over you. Already are, but more fans to come. Oh, we can't hear you. Are they working on your tech in the background? Okay. We'll wait for them to get that. We'll wait for them to get that going. You know, technology's always got to be technologying. Okay. So we have we just have like a really awesome mix of people that are in the audience. I think it would be great if people put in the chat kind of like what you're doing. Are you a student? Are you working in the industry? Are you trying to get into the industry? Just so that we have a little bit of a sense of that as well. Just put some of those comments in the chat. But we're going to just like dive into this. We talked a little bit about just like what are some of the things we wanted to talk about. And this question that you brought up, Keisha, is about sharing advice on how to authentically show up and be accountable for the career you want and deserve while preparing to be in a competitive space. I love this because there's so many aspects to this, right? Like competitive nature of this, how to show up and be authentic, and how to get what you want and deserve while being in this industry. So we're going to just have a little conversation about that. And I'm going to start us off.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, I think a lot of us who are from marginalized communities or communities that have less opportunities, we are very hyper-focused on what some of those problems are, as we should be. They're painful and they're unfair. But we all find love in this space, and we all find joy, and we do want to show up as ourselves because we have something unique and special to offer. In that same vein, not understanding the competitive nature of this, I feel sometimes hinders us from really like expanding and bringing some of the excellence that we all possess to the space. The oscillation between wanting to make a community that's very safe and very emotionally sort of expansive and understanding, while simultaneously wanting to get that great job or to have whatever the definition of success is. Like, what do those things mean, and how do we find balance between the two?
All of that. And how there's the joy of being, in a space and doing things that you want, but then there's also, it's hard sometimes, that competitive aspect of it. I'll speak very specifically as a Black woman. It can be like a very aha, and at my big age, I'm still shocked. At my big age, still shocked, right? Do you want to add anything to this, Letta J?
Yeah, I think Keisha put that really beautifully. When I think about authentically showing up, I really think about why I created Coexist, to be honest, because you want to be around an energy that makes you feel like you can authentically be yourself, and that's appreciated, and I think it's even more pressing why we continue creating those spaces, why the gameHERs, why Sugar Gamers, like, it matters. Community, it just really matters so much, because I tell some people, like, as massive as gaming is, we're in the business of people too, and everyone is searching for a level of fulfillment. And so even when it comes to competitive spaces, it's not for everyone, right? But if it is for you, being in a competitive space that is also mindful of our wellness is so important, which contributes to kind of that real, like when I say a 360-degree lens, it's really considering all the things that make us human, that make us, that satiate the need to be fulfilled. And so you feel comfortable being your authentic self and showing up as that person when you know that there are spaces that appreciate that authenticity that you are contributing to the world. And that can actually even spark a competitiveness that maybe traditionally hasn't been exhibited. Like, I just think when you're in environments that foster the kind of true equality and equity and meeting the human need, you extract awesomeness out of people. That's definitely what I love doing. I love understanding who people are. And there's like so many little golden nuggets that life sometimes buries. So many stacks and layers, right? And then if you can penetrate through them all, and this industry is so special, it has the ability to do that when you're surrounded by people. And I can't, like, for me, Coexist, I tell people all the time, like, this business is personal because
Yes.
I lived like a whole life searching for the place where I could just be my authentic self, where I don't have to be any particular thing. I'm a nerd and I'm a geek and I like dressing like anime characters, and it can
Yes, you
be
do. And
celebrated.
you do it well. You do it well.
But it's like it can be celebrated. And the thing is, you learn that there's a whole tribe of people that love the same things you love. And because of that authenticity, you are now building environments and creating entities where you can enable more people to authentically build themselves. And if there's competitive spaces that come from that, which I do inevitably believe they will, now you are creating a cycle that more and more of these things will just become exponentially pervasive, and more people will start to feel like there's representation for them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Annabelle, do we have your voice now?
I hope
She's
so.
here. Yay!
So, tell us who you are. Tell the people. I mean, we know. Tell the people. They probably know too who you are. I think what it is that you do and what you've created in the world and why it brings joy.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andy or Annabel, and I'm the founder of Melanin, which is a gaming community that promotes inclusion and diversity. Also, I'm sorry for being late. We're running an Apex tournament currently as we speak, so I was just helping manage that. Yeah, that's kind of what I do. We're based here in London, but we are an international community. We do events in different places. That's the thing.
And can you share your origin story? Like, why did you start Melanin Gamers?
I
What
mean,
was
I
going
started
on in the
Melanin. And what was going on, what's still going on in the world, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
I started MG for different reasons, I suppose. I wanted to see characters. I game a lot. I have sickle cell anemia, so I spent a lot of my childhood and my time. I still spend my time in hospitals, in a bed, not being able to go anywhere or do anything. And so I started loving to read, and reading was something that I enjoyed, and it was a world. And then I discovered that a game was like a book you could play, and it was like, oh my god, there's this whole world, and it was just like my mind was blown. And I love gaming for that. And I love like being also the competitive side. I could be as good as somebody, but I wasn't able-bodied. But if like, my hands were skill and stuff. So all of that was lovely. I love gaming for that. It gave me a social aspect that I didn't realize I needed, but I really did. And then I realized I wasn't seeing myself represented. And I was like, this thing that I love so much, I'm kind of losing it. And for me, I say that gaming is the youngest of the industries. It's not like the film industry and the music industry and all those, like, they're the older siblings that it's like very hard to change them because now they're like so whitewashed. But gaming is still the youngest sibling, so it can change. And I was like, we need to change it before it gets stuck in its ways. And so I thought MG, and sort of the nail that broke the camel's back was something that happened to my brother. He loves Overwatch, and he was playing, and his own team were being racist towards him. This is his own team, mind you. And I was like, what is happening right now? And so I thought this can't go on. And this was just like the norm. It was him not reacting to it. And I was like, is this what online gaming is like? This is awful. And then my sister, my older sister, she told our parents, and he got banned off the game. Like, my parents stopped him from playing because they didn't like it, and they didn't like that he was getting bullied. And then my younger brother started getting bullied in real life, and he didn't say anything because he saw what happened to my older brother as, well, you did something, that's why you were getting bullied. And I was like, that cannot be your worldview at such a young age. As like the bullies do whatever they want, and everyone else has to just grow thick skin, mute their mic, all of this sort of stuff. Just get rid of the bullies, and maybe everyone else can just coexist naturally. So I was like, yep, you have to do something about this. So MG was, yep, we have to do something about this kind of thing. Yeah.
So there's a beautiful thread to who, like, who each of you have shown up in the world to do. You've all created communities, right? Like, so there's just something about the fact that together we know that community is one of the ways to get us wherever it was we want to go. I think there's something about Black women that do this all the time and put this out into the space for many others. And we do it for them and for us. I think that's the other thing. It's so brilliant. All of the things that you all have created, you did that for yourself, but there's so much that you've given to the world. I think regardless of race, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, like people are drawn to what you've created because at the core, you wanted to solve this exclusion that was happening for yourself or for other people in your world and in your life. And I think that's brilliant and beautiful. And I'm really curious about what you all see the future of our industry being if it is in fact anti-oppressive. We talk a lot about diversity, equity, inclusion, and there's all these things that are going on around like what to do now. I'm really curious of what do you see in the future? Because each of you is building for the future, in my opinion. I know you're in the present and you're like doing that right now, but there's a very future-oriented way that you speak and that you're existing. So what does that look like? And I want it from a tactical place for those in the room that are preparing for that future. Like what are like 2 or 3 things that you think it looks like and that people should be doing right now to prepare us for that future, an anti-oppressive future, a future that's genuinely inclusive?
So there were some problems that I initially put, there was a slide on my first deck that I wrote down, and there were things like 1% of developers in the entire world were African Americans. And I was like, this was a polarizingly heartbreaking statistic, that 48% of gamers in the world were women. At this point, it's actually 50%, and we still feel left out and not included and ostracized. 85% of gamers were casual and had no social or networking outlet. And so this is why we gravitate to conventions. That the mobile gaming industry grew 10% year over year at over $100 billion, and 65% of mobile gamers were women. These are things, and then the esports industry is less than 1%, 0.63 to be exact, is $1 billion industry. We're talking about a $208 billion industry. So there are 3 things that I wanted to create solutions for with these 4 core values: community first, then culture, then connection, and opportunity. So the first thing was bridging the gap between esports and development. And that is what we built this entire company on. As competitive players, they're never invited to game jams. Arguably, most people have never even heard of a game jam, right? I'm a double E. I have been to more hackathons than I can count, and I didn't know there was a gaming version. And so creating an ecosystem that focuses on incubation does that. That is where the tech meets gaming in a way that is community focused, because we start building worlds where education is at the infrastructural level. So now people that generally didn't have an opportunity, don't know the entry point to step into the realm of development, now have these opportunities. People that were societally discarded, people that were not considered, people that may not have had the prerequisites or a certain education, but do have skills to be a part of adding value to the development process. That's what bridging that gap means. The future of gaming to me looks like bridging the gap between physical and digital worlds, which is precisely what we're doing here. So leveraging and building tech to expand on that platform so that more people can come together, have conversations, and forge these meaningful, significant relationships. And lastly, bridging the gap or focusing on your personal growth as well as your professional development. I speak to all these businesses that everybody wants to sponsor an esports tournament. And I say, well, I was reading in your company mission that you all cared about wellness. You care about the wellness of your consumers, but you just want to sponsor an esports tournament? Why are you not caring about the wellness of gamers? Because we too are first people who are potential consumers of your brand, product, or services. And so the future of gaming looks like this, that we're literally doing the work, but it is leveraging technology while being mindful of human needs and actually creating IP that will continue to build worlds that affect lives in massive rooms, whether that is digital and physical, and it should be both. And it's all about, like, I feel like this life is about how are we coexisting with ourselves on many levels. there are many needs we have. We don't know about nutrition. We don't know what to eat. We spend hours playing games, and like we're not taking care of ourselves. There are organizations and lifestyle brands that say they care about the gamer, but do you? Because I remember going 23 hours without eating food because I was playing in a tournament and I was a robot, right? I was deemed a robot. No, we're going to get you something in a second. So the future of gaming is really considering those needs first and then applying technology so that we can continue to build platforms so that they affect as many lives as possible.
Keisha, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that my suggestions after being in this space for 14 years, my insights that I would say I have about moving into the future is I want to say to everyone that my experience has, like, I worked really hard and now it's better. I can't say that. With that being said, I'm not there. There are some things that are better, but there is still so much work to be done. Part of how we all sort of can center ourselves is to really understand why we are all here. We're passionate about video games in some way, shape, or form, and we're passionate about having ourselves represented in the community of video gamers. So protecting that passion and really, really calibrating to why we're all here is really important. And then getting granular on that so you can really focus on being excellent in that space. Right now, we have access to so many tools that make video game development, being in the video game industry, making a game easier than ever. So we don't have excuses. We really have to define what we want to do here and then do it to the best of our ability with our passion for gaming intact, and really empowering one another to stay focused on that in this particular space is going to be how we sort of excel and exchange the information that we need to exchange to be in these places that we want to be in. So if you want to be in game development, being very specific on what kind of game development you want to be in, what games inspire you, do you have anything on your portfolio? Having something to show for our presence here is just so much more important. It's more important than it ever was. Having a portfolio, having a body of work, and really being well researched. Again, in the world with all the tools that we have now, we are more empowered than ever to showcase our excellence. And I think that that's just going to be really important for the challenges we'll have to tackle as more and more people saturate this market, and as it gets more competitive. As we've seen in these last few years, like, companies have come out of the woodwork and they want to support esports and they want to support diversity. But as soon as the bottom line is impacted, those are the first programs that are typically cut. With that being said, relying on your own personal passion of why you're here, the excellence you want to show up with, because that's going to be your piece to play when you're being competitive in the space. It's like, yes, we are going to still face the challenges of being from a marginalized space, but in addition to that, we got to show the excellence that's being ignored too. So I don't know if that makes any sense, and I hope that's hopeful and optimistic.
Listen, I genuinely, my thing is just show up as people will take it as hopeful or not. You're just giving us some truths and your lived experience and all of the expertise that you have. So don't worry about that. You actually are what's hopeful. What all those answers are a whole other thing. But like, thank you for that. And I do want two things. I'm going to pop this over to you, Anzi. But before that, I want to say, if anyone wants to ask questions, I'd love for you to come up near the stage and we'll put you on speaker, or you can put it in the chat if you don't want to put your voice out there. But you can come up and I'll make you a speaker so you can ask your questions. So Anzi, do you have anything you want to add about this question of the future of gaming and what are things that we should be thinking about and doing, or people in the room think about and doing to make it a less oppressive space?
So I think in terms of the future of gaming, is what we're working on what we started it last year, is the youth. Well, we've got a lot of youth projects, getting them into gaming, getting them with the skills as well. First of all, it's education. Like this is a career path, especially disadvantaged people in marginalized communities, stuff like that. I didn't know there was such a thing as a games writer until a few years ago, but I've loved gaming since I was young, and I'm a writer as well. Like games writer was never suggested to me because maybe the school they didn't know about those sort of career paths. There's just a lack of education in terms of this the different avenues of gaming. And when we go into schools, they think, oh, gaming, you have to be a coder. If you're a writer, if you're an illustrator, if you like music, you can make music. There are so many, just so many, like a plethora of jobs that are available that people don't realize that is within the gaming industry, and still now to this day they don't know that. They just think esports, content creation, and then that's kind of it. And a game is made by one person who's coding in their backyard or something, but that's how they think these things are when we go into schools today. And that's what we're trying to sort of change and educate people on. I think also gaming organizations need to do more in terms of outreach schemes that they should do, because it's just like, well, we also need the skills for these things. Now that we know about it, we now need the skills for these things, because it's like, okay, I want to do this thing. What are the skills I can do? And also for people so that's the youth that we're focusing on. So we're doing a lot of things like that, where how do they get into these industries? What do they need on their portfolio, so that when they reach the level of, I want to do this, okay, now what do I do then? So it's like we're sort of killing two birds with one stone. And then people who want to, from other careers, want to join gaming, they have transferable skills that they realize they don't really have, team building, all of this sort of thing. So we're actually trying to set that up so that they know that these are the things that they're trying to see on their CVs or their resumes. And these are the things that you should be putting on. For me, education is a huge, huge, huge player in this, because if you don't know what you don't know, that's the saying that goes.
I couldn't agree more with that. I also want to say one obvious thing. One obvious thing. It may not be obvious to people here because I know we talk about it, but I think the future of gaming is what we're doing in terms of scaling Coexist nationwide and internationally, because we need more spaces. We need more spaces to have these conversations in real life as well, where this incubation is happening in real time, because you are exactly right, Annabel. Like, that is what people don't know. They don't know that it takes thousands of people to build a game. Those are thousands of jobs. And so what does that look like in terms of helping people understand how to step into those jobs? And that's a big part of what we focus on while we're launching our app, so that we can disseminate that information, but then also just keep these conversations going and provide the programs. So those of you here, you are people that can tap into contributing to the future of gaming, because all of you have different skill sets, and we allow our members to actually run a lot of our programming, so that they are not only building their brands, but we're setting them in front of an audience of people that can ignite more studios being created, more games being built, prototypes that are being funded, and then we leverage our relationships to bring publishers to where this is happening, so that we can actually start really building and making games more inclusive. And of course, because if we're the ones building them, that representation is now in game and becomes a foundational component.
And thank you for all of that, because the other thing that everything that you all are talking about and what it makes me think about is the fact that, so I'm going to say something, and I don't know, it's a hot take, people might not like it, but we see all of these like esports management master's program, degree, all these things that they're saying you have to pay to get, that you don't have to pay to get. And I just have to say it, that you actually, like, one, lived experience is key. Two, the transferable skills, what you all are building, like within your community, you're building places where people come together and learn stuff from each other, right? And do that. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of maybe the things that maybe some of your hot takes, some of the not so pretty things, or the challenges that you faced, and some of the ways that you see that being solved. Like, so for one, Unreal Engine exists. You could take free things there, go and do it. Like, just go do it. I want to hear some more about that, because that is something that is really bothering me right now. This desire to make people go more into debt to do something that they love that they don't have to go into debt to do.
I mean, I guess we have to do more research. We have to be more curious. A lot of us look at that one person, or we're not necessarily always calibrating with what our definition of success is. So when you look at that content creator that has 1 million followers, dig a little deeper, ask yourself questions like, how did they do that? What did they have to do to get there? What are the tools? Who are the people that they're hanging out with? Not in a weird way, but just understanding the job or the career path that you're going down and all the things that are overlapping with that. If you want to go into game development and the things that you can do right now where you don't even have to wait for anybody. I think a lot of us sometimes are scared to show our work in process. So video games is really wonderful because there's such a huge community that you can just try something out. And even if you only show it to a few friends, just start documenting your work. Many of us that are content creators, it's hard to create content when you're first starting and you only have 3 or 5 people looking at you. It feels really awkward, but you have to start at a place where you're not going to have that immediate success. I think that there are some visions, especially within esports, because over the last few years, so much money, we hear so much public discourse about all these monetary successes without necessarily understanding how it all works. My point is just questioning the things that you believe are successes and then really understanding, your own personal success metric and doing the research around it and also showing your work in real time and not being afraid to do that.
Yes. Somebody put in the chat, gatekeepers. I think we're the new gatekeepers. And because we want a foundation of equality and inclusion and representation, we get to change the perception. Just like Annabel said, gaming is the new kid on the block. And we are the pacemakers. We're the ones, the truth is I love things like this, moments like this, these conversations, because after calls like this, it shouldn't just be, oh man, that was really dynamic. It was, how do I get in contact with you? Do you have a Calendly? Can we set up a meeting? Because that's the action. That is what will change the future of gaming. When we all, I'm looking at this chat and everyone has their lived experience and we've all been conditioned to think, oh, you have to be studying this, you have to do this. It's who decided that? And we're all brilliant people. That means we get to determine what the next generation, what those prerequisites are, what that foundation looks like. I think these conversations have to not just keep going, they will manifest and execute. Action will come from them. We will build the thing. First of all, we're already doing the work, but we can't do it alone. We can't focus on community, right? And not continue to build. In a community, there's levels, right? There's leadership too. And so I know that I'm always looking for amazing partners, brilliant minds to collaborate with, leaders to say, let's have these conversations. These are our needs. How do we do it? Let's get this done together. And because we're in gaming, we can do that agnostic of physical space. We can do that across country lines. We can just get it done. That's what we do.
I put in a chat, any questions, come up here and ask them. I'm going to do a quick poll really quick. So in the room, if you are currently go to the left of the room if you are looking to work in this industry, and go to the right of the stage if you are currently working in the middle if neither of those apply. You're just here for the good vibes. And so we have a good amount of people that are looking to find work in the industry. So I really want someone on that left side to come up here and ask some questions, because we have people here that are in the industry that are so willing to help you and to tap in. And this was said before, I can't remember now, if not us, we can likely connect you to someone who can, because we don't know everything. Like I said, this is our lived experience. Not us, we can likely find someone who can. So consider that. I want to ask a question. I had a panel about mental health gamers. I really want to know the role that rest and self-care play in what you all are doing. Amazing to hear. Oh, great. We have a question. So think about that. I want to know role that rests in there. Okay, I'm Kyle Nola on.
Hi,
Hi there,
my name is Kyle.
Kyle.
So I don't work in the industry because
I
I
hope I'm saying your
am
name correct. Yes?
Kyle Noya.
Do I have it
Yes.
right, Kyle?
I am currently a postdoctoral scholar. I got my PhD. I'd love to go into industry, but a few years ago, I was part of an initiative to create a system of accountability in the Super Smash Brothers community. I directed this code of conduct organization that heard cases of people who had been hurt, harmed, sometimes very serious, like sexually abused types of circumstances. And our whole deal was to go and communicate among tournament organizers in this grassroots space. And like everyone comes to a consensus and says, okay, we're going to ban this person that did. But I had really awful experience online. I had my job threatened and I was harassed. And it really destroyed my confidence in the ability to exist in this space without being harmed myself. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cry.
Don't apologize for that. Thank you for being so vulnerable.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask, what gives you hope and what makes you stay here? Because I am so scared to come back into this space with how badly I was harmed. If you could just give me something to help me understand why I should keep trying, I would love that.
I'm gonna let our panelists.
Girl, because you are a scholar and you are literally gifted with things that are going to impact people that you don't even know. I understand. I think all of us, honestly, understand having gone through experiences that really challenge everything that we're doing to the core. That's made us answer some really tough questions. Like, people ask me all the time, like, how do you keep going? I literally just posted something on my Instagram yesterday. I'm like, it's like when she's scared, she keeps going. You will never know. You don't see the tears. You don't see the exhaustion. You don't feel the pain. People don't see that, right? Because the social media platforms are not about that. These moments are about that. When you're talking to people that are in your tribe, every day, I say this about myself. I heal myself every day. It's not a thing. It's not a light switch. It's not something that happens instantaneously. It's a constant decision you make where you choose you every day to be better, to keep going, because at least for me, I needed to build something that was bigger than me. It wasn't enough for me to I moved to New York for music to be a recording artist, right? The idea of fame sucks. Your life, your privacy, there's certain things that are invasions. It's like, I just want to do music, but it comes with things that you don't really like, that you don't want. And all I really want is to create impact and change for the better, right? So I built a world, and it's hard. It's not easy, but I do say nothing in life worth having is ever easy. And the fact that you're still here means that you actually have the stuff that enables you to persist, right? The fact that you could get on stage and even express, those tears are a celebration. That is courage. There are a lot of people that can't do that, that don't do that. They buckle, they crumble. You didn't. You're still here. You made that comment. You know what? And you said it for someone that maybe didn't have the same level of whatever or the same something to express that. But you're not alone in having felt it, which means you're not alone in getting through it. And so you're surrounded by a bunch of people in a park with a bunch of beanbags that we can all celebrate your awesomeness and the fact that you were built to do something that is bigger than you, because you've already affected people outside of you right now today.
Anzi or Keisha, do you want to add any hope into the space?
I mean, I will definitely say Kyle and, for whomever else is going through a hard time in this space, I think it's important for us to acknowledge that this space is hard. And sometimes we need to take breaks away from it and really, really understand what it is that is hurting about being here, so we can make the better decisions for ourselves moving forward. Like, yes, you know, I think it was very courageous that you have come up and shared your story. And I want you to come back to this space healed and ready to share your strength too with other people who are going to go through some similar things that you have went through. I want to say, like, oh, the space is going to be better than ever, but the reality is we need people like Kyle that's going to be able to point out when, and protect the newcomers who come, and hopefully you can come back after you take the time that you need to be the person that can be in this space. And I know that you already can, because you're here right now with us. So, but take your time.
I
You want to
agree
add
with what I agree with what you both have said. That's something that my brother tells me to do: learn to rest, not to give up. Because it's very easy to want to give up when you're faced with sometimes some of the worst parts of people and some of the worst sides of them. And for me, it's don't always feel like you have to be strong. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to grin and bear it. You don't have to be that person. Sometimes you can admit that you're feeling weak, and then surround yourself with people who will cheer you up when you need to, who will be your champions, who you like, look, right now I'm feeling like, really bad about this situation. You can go and talk to them, and they know, you can bounce ideas off of them and stuff like that. And then take the breaks that you need, because mental health is like the most important and most valuable thing. Take steps away. It's not easy being in this space, but it's necessary. And also, when you surround yourself with those people, you know that they have the fight. So it's like you're resting, as like what my brother, he likes to use, like as a soldier you're resting, and then someone else is taking up arms for like the battlefield, and then you can, well, once you've rested, then you can sort of replace them, and so they can have their rest. So we need people like you back here, but when you take the rest you need, then you can come back and we can continue this fight, because we can fight for this space to be a space that you don't have to take breaks from. That's what we're fighting for. This is a space that you shouldn't have to take breaks from. And that's just what I want it to be, because gaming, I would say gaming saved my life with sickle cell. It means so much to me. So I really want it to be a space that is everything it used to be, kind of thing, and what it's meant to be as well.
Love that. Grace has come up to the stage, and thank you all for that. And thank you for the question. So, Grace, what is your question? I think you have to unmute. Maybe. Okay, we'll come back to you, Grace. You let us know when you are ready. Is there anyone else that has a question? I see Maria. Mariah, sorry, I'm going to make you a speaker.
Yes, so I just want to make a statement to Kylie. I am in the state of Florida. I am doing research for BIPOC women and girls entering into the video game space, specifically bridging education to entry-level careers. And it's very hard right now. Like May 1st, we're going to find out in the state of Florida if we can even do diversity research. So literally my grants and all of that may be taken away within the next 2 months because I'm considered out of policy. So I say all this to say, like, this work never stops. And I love the gaming industry. It has brought so much joy to my life, and it's brought so much joy to the girls that I work with in my community. And just seeing how they get the opportunities that I didn't have, like, that really emboldens me to keep fighting and to keep doing what I'm doing. So take your rest, but please come back, because we really need you. Like, we really, really do.
Aww,
And yeah, like
this.
you have a community here, so reach out if you need anything. We're always here to help you. And then my second, this is a question. How can data and research, because I am a researcher, how can data and research support these initiatives? Like, what data would you like to see come out to support marginalized communities, specifically BIPOC, LGBTQ plus women and girls in the video game industry?
Is that a question for Kyle or for anyone?
Oh no,
It's
that's a question
for
for the
the
panel.
panel.
Oh, I would love to connect with you because it's funny. I remember when I was writing my first deck, I was looking at Newzoo, WePC, Statista. There are certain statistics, particularly about people of color, that you can't find. They're just not available. And I don't know if that's intentional or what, but I want to definitely have real research, quantifiable metrics that show specifically people of color, women that are playing certain sectors of games, certain types of games, that all lends to understanding the psychology of what we need. So I would be happy, I would love to have conversations with you more about that because I have really searched for a lot of information. I have a lot of stuff that is not easy to find. And I'm inclined to think it is intentional.
Did you want to add anything to that, Keisha? I saw you come off of mute, or did Letta J always kind of says all the things in all the great ways, so maybe.
I really do think she does. Letta J, you really do. But I mean, I can't emphasize enough how important just the discipline of research is. What you're doing is incredibly important because data and statistics are what is the fuel to anything you want to do. It's also a good metric to understand where you're at in this space too. Like, when I talk about competition, I think that many of us think about it in a sort of toxic sense, but also competition does have collaborative elements, and just understanding mathematically where your skills are or what you're shooting for. Like, say you want to be like the best content creator. Understanding how hard that is and what it took and how long that takes and how to make it sustainable. That's all a foundation of statistics that I think that especially people in our demographic need to understand in a sober way, because we just fall in love with so many things without really understanding how the foundation of something is made. And statistics and research is just such a huge part of that.
I'm going to, Grace, go ahead and ask your question. I think your mic is maybe working. And if not, I'll read the question and then you can pick up where we left off, because you did put it in the chat. So this question, there's a lot of networking that goes into breaking into the industry on Twitter, on Discord, etc. And a lot of people have told me that the reason they got their job was they were lucky. I know that the idea of luck is something you can individually contribute to or trend down. What kind of opportunities do you think contribute to building that luck? How have you found opportunities to maximize that? And do you have any tips on how to tap into those besides just building technical, I don't know what that last part is, but technical or technique or something skills? Yeah, you got to go ahead, Keisha, go.
I can answer that. This is where becoming specialized and knowing exactly how you want to show up in the space, this is where it becomes very important, because there's so many things that you can do in gaming that you're going to, if you don't know what you want to do, you're going to be in these very general communities, but there's layers upon layers and upon layers of different ways you can be here. And defining that can really sort of jumpstart where you start off in the space, especially contingent on what you want to do. Like in your question, I would love to know what you're networking for. So, if you're building a network, that's fine, but where are you building this network? Why are you building this network? What is the job that you specifically want? And start getting more and more specific Like if you want to be a content creator, what kind of content creator? What kind of games will you play? Are you going to teach? Are you going to entertain? Are you going to be good at the game? That's just for content creating. Game development. Do you want to do art? Do you want to do design? Do you want to do management? Do you want to do audio? There's so many things, and being specific can get you closer and luckier, if you will, to that space that you wanted to be in. But I think that knowing the jargon, industry jargon, is also a very important thing, which is kind of hard. I would say that's one of the things that is most often gate kept. So you want to do something, but you might not know what it's called. And just researching what those terminologies are can also put you in a better position to get you where you want faster. And I will also say, if you're going into a sort of technical part of gaming, not like content creation, LinkedIn is really the best space. LinkedIn with a link to your portfolio. So anyways, I hope that's helpful.
I want to be mindful of time. Honestly, like we could have a whole day with this panel. Anzi, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I do want to add something, because
Go for
networking
it.
is something that we talk about quite a lot. I know we have 2 minutes left.
No,
but
go for it. Don't worry about it.
And networking is definitely something that's given me a lot of opportunities, but also shown me about things that I didn't know about. There's something that I thought was a brick wall, and someone was like, actually, this is a door. Some places there's a doorway, and I'm just like, I thought this was a vault door. And so networking is mentorship as well. Sometimes I know what you said about specializing, but you don't even know what that job is. You didn't even know a job like that even existed. Like I said, game writing. I didn't know that was even a thing. I should have put two and together. Ooh, someone's writing this dialogue, so there must be a game writer. But I didn't at the time when I was picking my A-levels and stuff. I didn't know that was even something to specialize in. So it's also getting yourself with people who that I need a mentor. If you need, there's so many mentorships around nowadays. It's Googling this sort of stuff and then asking and applying to these different spaces and seeing how you can do it, because then someone can show you, actually there's all of these things that you didn't even know existed, because it's all about education. If you don't know, you can't even apply for it because you didn't even know it existed. And then you don't even know what to put on your resume, because so it's just there's the wealth of knowledge can also be intimidating. And there are people who will help you navigate these waters, which can sometimes feel really treacherous or overwhelming, which is how I felt. And so there's people who I reached out to who really helped me when I first started MG. And I was like, how do I do this? This person knows events. I want to run some events, tournaments. This person helped me with that. How do I do this? How do I do that? And then I give back too now. So people come to me and say, how do I do this? I'm like, this is how you do it. And LinkedIn is definitely a really great resource for that. In-person events, just DMing someone, emailing them. Can I please? Most often than not, people did respond and were very helpful. 9 out of 10 times, I'll say most people were very helpful. And so that's what I would do. So putting yourself out there for things, advice, because they might tell you things that you didn't even know was a possibility. So that's why I think networking is so important.
All right, so Keisha, Letta J, and Annabel, I want you to think about this one thing that you want to leave everyone that's here with. So it could be one thing that you want to, I don't know, piece of advice, something you want to say, or a mantra or a quote in your life that you live by that you want to share with people in the room. And I'm so sorry that I did not get to everyone's question. I think that I have someone on stage though, Sandra or Sandra. I'm going to break protocol. I'm going to let you ask your question. I'm going to do that MC thing that I'm doing right now. I'm giving you a speaker. Go for it.
Okay, thank you. I'm a bit different. I have actually invented a game. I have a prototype on mobile. Need some funding, but I really want to know if any of you know game publishers, black female. Very, very rarely have we actually invented the game. I had a company who actually did the software, the programming for me. They're willing to go further. It's a single player game. I want to make it into a multiplayer game. Any thoughts? Thank you.
Where are you based? Geographically?
In the UK, and I'm actually in Barbados at the moment.
Barbados? That's where my father is at the moment, because that's where my family's from. Oh, okay, see, it was meant for me to let you in. Bayesian, I see you. I just felt the Bayesian vibes.
Well, I think
Um,
the answer, we all definitely know publishers for sure.
yeah.
Great.
Um,
I think the
Okay.
there's
question. Oh, go ahead.
sorry, you're based in the UK. There's an organization called Wings, and they're supporting marginalized developers. Someone like exactly like I can send them you their information. Just pop me an email. Actually, they actually came
I
to us saying that.
literally,
Yeah, go on.
I literally did apply to Wings, and they said, "Hey, great, you're doing a wonderful job. Apply to our accelerator." I'm beyond that stage. Their board for funding is no longer meeting. The website is still up and saying, "Hey, we've got these funds."
Well, they've just launched something brand new. I think it's well. I will see, but it
An
should be
accelerator program, yes.
not an accelerator. I don't think. I think it's for funding and
No,
stuff.
I will be reaching
Um,
out to you. It's Annabel.
yes.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say. So do the emailing, find us all on LinkedIn because it's a very personal thing, and I think we can probably lead you in some direction. So if you go to the side quest, you should be able to find everyone's LinkedIn. And then Annabelle, if you want to put your email in the chat, then we can do that too. So one piece of advice. Thank you so much for the question, and I'm jealous that you're in
a brilliant
Barbados.
job. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so one thing you want to leave the audience, one piece of advice, or one a words or sayings or something that you want to leave with everyone. So we're going to take the last moments for that.
I have two things. One, if you don't like the world that you are in, it's because you were meant to build a new one. So build it. And then for especially all of these really powerful ladies, we are never outnumbered. We are just outorganized. So we need to fix that.
You let it, Jay. Who wants to follow that?
You're so silly.
Who gets to follow that brilliance?
That was very good. I really like that. Just out organized. It's true. If we were organized, boy, we would be so powerful. I think for me, what words I've lived by, which is something my sister said, is because I get very nervous when I'm trying to apply for something, and she said it's no until you ask. So if there's something that you want to do, you're intimidated because it's a very large organization. It's already a no if you don't apply. The worst they can do is say no to you. You might as well go for it. So it's no until you apply. I have reached out to really big things and they've said yes. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in this door. And also you can you can make more changes when you're in the boardroom. There's no point shouting from the parking lot. When you're in the boardroom, you're making those changes. So I know it's difficult and you're trying and you're rest, all of that sort of stuff, but get yourself a foot in the door, make those changes and hold the door open. Not even hold the door open, write the blueprints and send it to other people so that they know. So you don't have to be, doesn't have to be this space. So I've helped people with other industries. Well, I'm not even involved in that, but I was like, this is how I got into this one. Maybe the same thing can help for you. So it's not just always about holding the door open. It's about, these are the blueprints I used. Maybe try these blueprints. So that's also how we can help each other out.
Beautiful. Keisha?
I would just say those things that you're scared to do it anyway. As gamers, we are all prepared to lose and learn the lesson from that. And that's what makes us really powerful. So just do it scared.
This has been so just like heart-filling, affirming. I am so honored to be holding space with each of you. Thank you so much for heeding my call and coming out. I can't wait till we get to do it again next time. Everybody send all the good vibes, send all the love, do a little applause for these brilliant, brilliant, brilliant human beings in the world. And if you go to SideQuest, you'll be able to see how to connect with them on LinkedIn and other places. Thank you all so much. And we're going to transition into our next speaker momentarily. Thank you.